This is Bob Yoho. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For the next few weeks, we're going to talk about Westerns. As many of you know, and all of you probably should by this time, I'm a Western author. Westerns are kind of my business. I like reading them. I like watching them on television. I like seeing them at the movie theater, although that's getting harder and harder nowadays because, one, there ain't very many Westerns at the movie theater, and two, there ain't very many movie theaters anymore. American public pretty well got away from that in 2020, but I don't want to spend any time talking about that year. That is a bad year. But for the next few weeks, I'm going to discuss my top 50 Western films of all time. Now, I thought I might be able to cover 10 per episode, and I don't think I can. I think 5 will be a plenty, and I think I'll have a hard time getting through 5. And one thing I need to know before I get started is, when I list these films, my top films, they aren't necessarily what the film reviewers consider great. They may not even be classics. And some of the classics I may just blow right on by, and you may be surprised about it. It has to have some significance to me. Maybe it's significance in Western film history, or maybe it just has to be watchable. I can't unless I'm entertained or enlightened or gain something else. I don't care whether you call it a classic or not. It doesn't necessarily get me. But I'm gonna list my top 50 westerns of all time, and I'll tell you what, this was not an easy thing to do. So some of you will like them, some of you won't. But I'm going to start out, and I'll probably surprise some of you on some of these. Number one, my greatest Western of all time, and honestly, I didn't care for this one when I was a child. It's Once Upon a Time in the West from 1968. The reason I say these are not Hollywood movies, this would be one that many would consider a spaghetti Western. It was filmed overseas. And Once Upon a Time in the West, I didn't much care for it the first few times I saw it, but as I got older, I came to develop an appreciation for this film. It starts off with some of the most interesting cinema you'll ever see. There's Jack Elam, who many of you know from many of the Westerns. There's a black gentleman named Woody Strode, who's a great Western actor and just a great actor, and I guess he was a fantastic athlete as well. And Woody Strode, his name will come up farther in this list, you'll see. But it starts out with 3 of them right there at the train station waiting for Charles Bronson to arrive. And when they as it shows them at the beginning, it shows flies lighting on their nose, and here's water dripping. It's fascinating. It's been copied by almost every filmmaker since then, but it's just a great film. And the opening scene was magnificent, really. Charles Bronson, he come there to see a man named Frank, who was Henry Fonda's character, and he's standing there at the train station as the train pulls out, and he's on his harmonica, which I think when I was younger I found rather annoying, but I think I understand it as I got older. But he turns around and asks them, they said, Frank's not here, he sent us. Jack Elam's doing most of the talking in this, and Jack Elam is just fantastic in this scene. And he says, Frank sent us. Bronson's character goes, you didn't bring enough horses. Jack Elam said, we don't have one for you, or something like that. And Bronson goes, looks like you brought too many. And you can see that what's interesting is they put this camera on Woody Strode's face when he says that, and he doesn't say anything, but you can just see him. He goes from happy and smiling to just grim right off the bat. And it's a great scene. And I'll just say Jack Elam and Woody Strode don't have a very long part in this. But this was a great film. This is probably one of the first films there ever was where Henry Fonda played a bad guy. And he was a very bad guy in this film. Jason Robards is in it. And I'll tell you one thing. I've come, over the years, I've come to really love the acting of Jason Robards. I think the man is just a magnificent actor. So this film has a lot to watch. Bronson's great in it. Henry Fonda's devilishly great in this film. And so Once Upon a Time in the West would be my first choice for greatest westerns of all time. Number 2, and this one's going to surprise you. This is a film from 1966 called Duel with Diablo. I love this film. This film is hardly ever mentioned when people are talking about the greatest Western films of all time. And I don't really give a hoot whether they think it's that great or not. I think it's fantastic. James Garner acts in this one, and I think James Garner is one of the greatest actors of all time. The man was great at comedy. He was fantastic at drama. He was just a super actor. And I mean, all of it. It didn't matter what it was. He was just believable. Come down to Rockford Files as a detective and kind of smart-mouth detective. James Garner was just a fantastic actor. And this Duel at Diablo is an absolute super Western. It has James Garner, also has Dennis Weaver, from those of you who remember him from TV series McCloud. It has Sidney Poitier as playing a gambler. And Sidney Poitier's character in this is really superb. And the one thing I like is the interaction between James Garner's character and Sidney Poitier's. They, at one point, almost come to gunplay, but they kind of get a grudging respect for each other. And I'll tell you one thing, another thing I like about this, and James Garner does this better than anybody else. James Garner plays an angry, vengeful character in this, and James Garner, hateful, is just, there's nobody better at it. The only guy that comes close to him and just being raged and outraged on the screen and doing it as well as him would probably be Jimmy Stewart, because he's super at this. You'll see him more later. But Duel Diablo is just a great film. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I don't want to ruin it for you. Many people have not heard of it. Many of you have not seen it. It's a fantastic film, and the musical score is super in it. And don't miss this one, because I really had a hard time where to place this film, because it definitely makes any of my top 10 list, because I love this film. So Duel at Diablo is number 2. Number 3, it's going to be a film from 1969, and that's going to be the original True Grit. I know some of you probably going to give me this stuff about you don't think much of some of the acting in this, and I will admit to you that some of the acting in the Coen Brothers film True Grit, some of the other actors in this film eclipsed the original True Grit that had John Wayne, Kim Darby, and also Glenn Campbell in it. And I'll admit, Glenn Campbell wasn't a very good actor at that time. And honestly, I just can't, I just have to say it. John Wayne originally wanted Elvis Presley to play this part. And honestly, I think this would have been a really interesting film if Elvis Presley had played the part of LaBeef that Glenn Campbell had. Because I think Elvis Presley was a pretty fair actor. And Colonel Tom Parker, they couldn't work out an agreement with him. And Parker wasn't good for Elvis. Elvis would have done well without Parker, and Parker hurt him in a lot of ways. And it's a shame that Elvis wasn't in this film, because I think it would have been really something to see had he been. But True Grit is a great film, and one of the reasons I like True Grit, and one of the reasons I put it far beyond the remake, and some of the character actors and the other participants in that Coen remake of True Grit really did a good job, and I thought it was a good film. I wouldn't put it in my top 50, but I thought it was pretty well done. But one reason I like the John Wayne film, in my opinion, 2 of the greatest scenes in American cinema appear in this film, and that might surprise you. The second greatest film in America, the second greatest scene in American cinema, takes place when you see John Wayne down in the field, and all the aspen trees are yellow down there, and you're actually seeing him from the position of Kim Darby and Glenn Campbell's character looking down as he's facing off with Robert Duvall and the other outlaws. That scene right there, and where everything stops, I believe is probably the second greatest scene in American cinema. And I didn't tell you about greatest scene in American cinema, in my opinion, is why I like this film better than the Coen remake of True Grit, because they don't portray this. But when John Wayne kills Little Blackie, Kim Darby's horse, Maddie's horse in this film, he has to pick her up, and he kind of drags her all around. She falls off. It's kind of like he drags her, and I don't know how she kept from getting her teeth full of dirt and mud, but it's a great scene. But he picks her up. She'd been snake bit, of course, as those of you who've seen the film, and he picks her up in his arms, and at this time, John Wayne I think he'd already had one lung removed, so he's going. And he picks her up and carries her, and you look out over a wide expanse of frontier out there, and his horse is dead. He's got to carry this woman, try to get her to the doctor quickly because she's been snake bit. And when he stops right there and he's breathing hard, which I think was probably real, he may not even been acting then, but it shows him looking out over there, and to me that is the greatest scene in American cinema, and I will not, I don't care whether you agree with me or not, I believe it was superb. And I just like the original True Grit. That'd be my third greatest movie of all time, Western film. I actually went back and forth between it and Duel and Diablo, and True Grit wound up number 3. Number 4 is from 1952, and that is High Noon with Gary Cooper. I don't really know how you can have a top 50 Western films and leave Gary Cooper out. He was a superb actor, and he was great in this film. I know there's a lot of debate. I know John Wayne didn't like this film. John Wayne and Gary Cooper were good friends, but he didn't like the film. He didn't like the way it was done. But probably the second greatest scene in American cinema to me also appears in this film. You see the clock constantly. He's waiting for the train, an outlaw to arrive, and he had sent this outlaw to prison years ago. And he's coming back on the train, and Gary Cooper's character has just got married, and he was going to leave town. And the train's coming with the man that he had sent back to jail many years ago. Gary Cooper just believes he should stop him. You know, he's coming back to do what he did, and he believes he needs to face him. He believes he's coming back to kill him. And I think Gary Cooper knows that he'll chase after him, and he's going to come get him one way or the other. And so Gary Cooper just feels like, we'll just face him right here. And he tries to get people to help him, even after he cleaned up the town. And so many of the people that were happy that cleaned up the town won't help him. And you see the clock ticking down to the noon train. And you just see the clock over and over again. And then you see the pulse, it's just like a heartbeat. And the clock ticking, ticking, ticking. And you see that building to the point where you keep seeing flashes of the clock, and you keep seeing Gary Cooper's Will Kane character walk down the street, and then you hear the train whistle. That is what I believe is the second greatest scene in cinema right there, and the moments building up to that, and the tenseness of the moment. So that would be my number 4th film, High Noon. This next one is from 1976. My 5th favorite film of all time, Western film, would be The Shootist. As many of you know, John Wayne died of cancer, and this was only a year and a half before he actually passed away from cancer. But he filmed this Western, and it was about a legendary gunfighter who is dying, who's had a diagnosis of cancer and is dying. In many ways, a lot of people think that John Wayne was just really kind of was a microcosm of John Wayne's life there at the end. A lot of people think this kind of maybe it wasn't acting, it was kind of an old Western star facing his death of cancer, the same as this old renowned gunfighter is facing his death from cancer as well. So there was a lot of things going on in this film. And honestly, John Wayne didn't win an Academy Award for this film. The only one he won an Academy Award for was True Grit. But John Wayne should have received an Oscar for this film because it is fantastic. The cast is amazing, and Anne Bancroft in this was great. Hugh O'Brian, Richard Boone. But this is just a great film. There's so many great actors, and so many people did such a fantastic job in this film. Scatman Crothers is in this, and he's excellent. And I just can't say enough about the Shootist. It was just a fantastic film. Jimmy Stewart was in it too. And there's just so many great actors in this film. I can't say enough about it. So The Shootist would probably be my fifth favorite. So I'm going to run down my top favorite Western films of all time was Once Upon a Time in the West. Number 2, Duel at Diablo. Number 3, True Grit. Number 4, High Noon. And number 5, The Shootist. This is my top 5. You may not agree with them. You may have your opinion. Let me know what you think of these. And if you tell me if you disagree with me. I don't mind you being wrong. And so, yeah, tell me what you think. But these are my top 5 Westerns of all time. If you like this and you want to see more of it, please hit like and subscribe on this. And also, be sure and tell me what you think. I don't mind hearing. I can take it if, I'm sure that plenty of you are not going to agree with me, but I want to hear what you have to think. Anyway, that's my top 5 all-time Western films of all time. Let me know what you think. I'll see you again soon. Bye now.